World War II was the single most deadly conflict in human history, resulting in 50 to 85 million deaths, depending on the source you believe. But what countries were hit the hardest and suffered the most casualties? As the figures vary greatly between sources, some of the numbers to follow will be displayed in a range representing the most probable totals. With that said, here are the top 5 nations who sustained the most casualties during World War II. 5. The Dutch East Indies, now known as Indonesia. Military casualties, 11,500. Civilian casualties, between 2.7 and 4.3 million. Total, most likely between 3 and 4.3 million. As the numbers would suggest, the Dutch East Indies didn't play a major military role in the war. Most of their casualties were civilians, sustained as a result of famine and forced labor during Japanese occupation. 4. Poland. Military casualties, 240,000. Civilian casualties, between 5.6 and 5.9 million. Total, most likely between 5.9 and 6.1 million. Much like the Dutch East Indies, Polish military casualties were absolutely dwarfed by the number of civilian casualties they suffered, a great deal coming as a result of war crimes during German and Soviet occupation, most notably as a result of being imprisoned and slaughtered in concentration camps or dying of hunger and disease. 3. Germany. Military casualties between 4.4 and 5.3 million. Civilian casualties between 1.5 and 3 million. Total, most likely between 5.9 and 8.3 million. By the war's end, German military losses were staggeringly high, the second highest of any nation, approximately 80% of which were suffered on the Eastern Front. Some estimates put German losses between 250 and 400,000 during the Battle of Stalingrad alone. 2. China. Military casualties, between 3 and 3.75 million. Civilian casualties, between 12.3 and 18.2 million. Total, between 15 and 22 million. China is often overlooked as one of the big 4 nations on the Allied side during World War II. Whilst their military losses were astonishingly high, the number of civilian deaths was over 4 or 5 times that figure, largely due to nearly a decade of Japanese occupation, beginning with the Second Sino-Japanese War in 1937. Massacres by the Japanese, famine and disease were some of the main reasons for such high civilian losses. 1. The USSR. Military casualties, between 8.6 and 11.4 million. Civilian casualties, between 12.5 and 19 million. Total, between 20 and 30 million. The USSR by far suffered the most military casualties during the war, with over double that of the nation with the second highest, Germany. Some estimates put Soviet losses at over 1 million during the defense of Stalingrad alone. Their civilian losses were also astronomical, only rivaled by that of China, many coming from German massacres, famine and disease. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.